Hey guys, this is Celisa James. I am a mortgage broker for Pacific Coast Mortgage Group. We've had some downtime recently. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we thought we would make a kind of fun little podcast letting you all know just basic things to know about mortgages, steps to get one, the differences between the different types of mortgages, and really any questions that you might have either as a first-time home buyer, or maybe you did buy a home but the process wasn't ever explained to you. We thought we'd help you out. I have Taylor Nevitt here with me. She's an assistant in our office. She's kind of new to the company. Do you want to say hi, Taylor?
Hello.
So she'll be here asking questions just in case I get a little too deep into anything. She'll be here to ask questions and pitch in on anywhere that she thinks that she can. So we're going to start our first one off with the 12 steps to buying a house. We're going to make it as easy as we can for you. I'm just going to go over them briefly. Nothing too long, and the episodes to follow will start to really get into the nitty-gritty of buying a home and everything that it entails. So basically your first step when you want to buy a home is to check your credit score. Credit Karma is actually a really good way to do that. We've found with a lot of our clients that they are pretty accurate with those credit scores. Now, keep in mind when a mortgage company does pull your credit, it is going to be a hard inquiry, and they are going to pull a little bit more than what you might see on Credit Karma. So if your score does come back a little bit lower, that's totally standard. The bank's going to be lending you a lot of money to get a home, and they want to make sure that your credit worthiness is there. But we do usually just have, our clients check it on Credit Karma. That way they can see if they have anything on there that maybe they didn't know, or if they do need to get their score up, they can figure out how to do that. But that's our big thing. And keep in mind, when it's not times like now, you can get a home mortgage with credit scores as low as 580. The guidelines are going to be really strict on those, but we do them. So if you are in the 600s or low 7s, you're not doing too bad. You can still get a home. So don't let that ever deter you or make you afraid of trying. The best thing is to come see a lender, and we can work with you. If maybe you're not ready right at that point, we can definitely set up a plan for you and help you get there. So the next part would be save for a down payment and closing costs. This is one that I know when I bought my first home, I didn't think that I would be able to buy it. Taylor, if you ever thought of buying a home, do you think you'd need a lot of money to be able to do that?
I would think so, yeah.
Right. And see, that's the consensus usually with clients. They come in and they're like, I don't have enough for down payment. They don't even know what closing costs are. And that's okay. That happens. We have programs, conventional programs, that are as low as 3% down. So a lot of people don't know that. You're going to have private mortgage insurance, which we'll get into in another podcast. But, it's just a monthly fee. It's usually pretty low, maybe $100, depending. But you will have that, but you can go as low as 3% down. We also have the government loans, FHA, 3.5%. If you're in a rural area, they have USDA loans that are 0% down. There's a CalHFA program here in California. That one you can actually get, it's 3 loans, and one's to help you with your down payment and one's to help you with your closing costs. So we definitely have options. And if you're VA, you guys have great loan options. You have 0% down. So there's lots of options out there for you. Don't think that you can't get, your dream home because you don't have that 20% down. You don't need it. As far as closing costs, those are really standard. Most lenders, so as a broker, we don't really charge you fees to get a loan. You have your underwriting fee. That's pretty standard through all of the lenders that we broker out to. It's maybe $900 to $1,000. You can always pay to buy down your rate. We don't really recommend it unless you're going to be in the house for more than 5 years. Most of you are going to sell within 3 to 5. So we don't, highly recommend that, but it is an option. And the other closing costs are going to be like your escrow fees, which again, we'll get into in a later podcast, but those are standard. Each escrow company has them. You can't get out of them. But you can also work with your real estate agent and see if you can get, as part of your contract, some of those closing costs covered. Most people come in, I would say, closing costs alone depending on tax season, you're going to be anywhere from about $6,000 to about $10,000. That's pretty standard, and those are your closing costs. That's on top of your down payment. So, yeah. So again, it's not that scary. I promise. We have lots of options for you. The next one, step 3, is going to be determine how much home you can afford. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to pre-qual you. I'm going to get all your information, your income, your debt, and I'm going to see how much you can afford for a monthly housing payment. A lot of people can afford a little bit more than they think, but we also want you to be comfortable. So a lot of the time what we'll do is we'll just figure out what's the most that you can buy. We'll let you know what that payment is. If you're comfortable there, you can go and use that one. If you're not comfortable there, we can always work it back down or work it based off of the house that you find. Step 4 is choose a lender. Hopefully you would choose me. That would be awesome. However, you want to go with who's going to fit you best. So, shop around, see who you want to use, see if you want to go through a bank, if they'll take you, see if you want to use a mortgage broker, which is what I am. I have 20 lenders that I work with, and I basically shop for you. I find where the best rate's going to be or where your loan's going to fit. Maybe you have some weird circumstances, and I probably have a lender for that. And then you have lenders that work for corporations. And again, it's kind of like a bank. Their corp does the loan themselves, and then they service them themselves. So you have options. There's lots of us out there. Step 5 is get pre-approved for a loan. So I kind of talked a little bit about that. We're going to run your credit. We're going to get your pay stubs, tax returns, see how much debt you have, where you're at, and what you can afford. That's getting pre-approved. You want that before you go and look for houses, especially right now with COVID going on. I know in California, before you can even look at a house, you have to be pre-approved. You have to have a pre-approved letter to make sure you're serious and you're qualified to look at that house, because they're really trying to keep this social distancing going. So but you should get pre-approved no matter what. You want to know how much you can buy. You don't want to go look at a $700,000 house and find out, it's your dream home and then you can't afford it. You're only qualified for $400,000. So getting pre-approved is definitely a big step, and it's a really important step in the process.
And do you always get approved by a lender? Is that how you go to get approved?
That's the best way to do it. So it's a good question. The best way is to go through a lender. Find your lender, start working with them. They're going to know your file. They're going to know what they can do, how to help you, and then how to get that house. And they're going to work with your agent to make sure you get that house as well once you found a house. Or your lender might have a really good agent recommendation for you. We do work with a lot of agents, so we know who the good ones are, and we can definitely find you somebody who's going to get you the house that you want. That's really important. Is your agent is just as important as your lender is. So you want to make a good decision in that. Step 6, I just talked about it. Find the right real estate agent. So there you go. If you already have one, that's awesome. We'll work with whoever. We're happy to if that's who you want to use. But like I said, your lender, we have those relationships with those agents. So it's really a good thing to ask your lender, who would you recommend? Who would you refer? We're going to give you our best agent. We want you to have the best experience that you can, and we're going to give you the best agent that we have, who's going to really work for you and make sure you get the house that you want. Step 7, determine your priorities. So what's your priorities? Is it a house? Is it a new car? Is it a vacation? You got to figure that out. Like, if you really want a house, you can do it. I never thought I would get a house, and I bought one. So you really have to get those in line, basically, and make sure that's what you want. And you can afford it. Everybody can afford it. You just got to, sometimes budget a little bit more than maybe you'd like to. Maybe not go out to eat so much. That's my problem for sure. Okay, so number 8 is going to be start house hunting. This is the fun part, guys. You get to go look at houses. I don't know about you. I love to see other people's houses. It's one of my favorite things. I like to see how they decorate. I like to see how it's set up. I love looking at houses. And that's what you get to do. Your agent's going to set you up in houses that are in your price range. You're going to go look, don't settle on that first one. Look at a couple. Maybe also don't look at too many, because then it might be a hard decision. It's like wedding dresses, right? And say yes to the dress. The girl does 20 dresses and
doesn't come out with
one. She can't make a decision. So definitely keep in mind what you're looking for. Let your agent know. Tell them your haves, your wants, your needs, and what you absolutely, will not give up, and maybe what you can give up. That's going to be a big part of this. Step 9 is to make a smart offer. Again, this is where, a good agent is going to come into play. They're going to help you. You don't want to lowball. You're probably not going to get accepted. You may not even hear back. you want to be around market value. If the price is a little high, obviously you can come in lower. Maybe you want to come in at asking price and see if you can get some closing costs covered. There's lots of options, and so a good agent is really going to be the one to help you out with that, and making those smart decisions and making that offer, because you want to be the one accepted. Especially, if you're out here on the Central Coast like we are, we have low inventory, so a great agent is going to be great because there's probably multiple offers on that house. So you really, really, really want to be cognizant of that. Step 10 is to get a home inspection. Your agent is the one that sets you up with that. It's not a full appraisal, but you have somebody who's licensed go in, they kind of take a look and they let you know if there's any big things that stick out, mold, rot, termites, really anything like that. And if you're going to need further help with getting those fixed. So that's a big thing. You pay for it up front usually, unless you have a really cool agent, which mine are pretty cool. A lot of them will pay it for you, or they'll already have one. Sometimes listing agent that is the one in charge of selling the house, they already have it ready to go. So you really, really do want one of those. Don't let anybody talk you out of that. You want a home inspection. You want to know what you're getting into even before the appraisal. Step 11, make sure the home is appraised. So that's part of the lending process. They actually have some cool stuff nowadays where some properties, we get what's called an appraisal waiver. You don't even have to do an appraisal. Saves you, $500-$600. If you still want one, always recommended. Appraiser's going to get in there. They're going to tell you what the actual value of the house is. So if it is what the sales price was for, or if it's under or over. If it's over, you're in a good spot. You have built-in equity. Again, later podcast, we'll get into that. But those appraisals are great. They're going to, tell you if anything is not good, if they're, maybe we can't do a loan on that house. And that's a big thing. And that's something that you need to know. So the appraisals are really, really important, and they're good for 120 days. So you have that for 120 days after it's yours. You as the borrower, you bought that appraisal. That's yours. You own it. So that's a really good thing. And the last step is to close on your new home. So there's a lot in between, obviously, with the loan process and all of that. But at the end, you get a close on your home, which is awesome. So, we go through the process of underwriting, and we work with escrow. You sign loan docs, and then you get the keys, and now you own your first home, maybe your second home, maybe an investment, who knows. But it's a fairly easy process once it's broken down for you. And like I said, we'll kind of, as we do these, we'll get way more detailed into each step and each different thing that goes on in the process. But that's a pretty good layout if you're just wondering what the process entails, if you've never bought, or like I said, if you worked with somebody in the past and they didn't really explain what was going on, which does happen. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this first podcast that we did. Like I said, we'll do some more in the future. They'll be a little bit longer. We'll get more in depth, but this was just kind of our first run at trying out a podcast, and hopefully you guys got some good information out of it. If you want, we'll have our details listed with the podcast, so you can always email us. We have a website, you can look at it. If you just want any information, and we just want to be there to help. We are licensed in California, so a lot of this stuff is going to be for California because that's where I'm licensed. So make sure you always check in your state with who you're licensed with. Check with a lender there, because there's going to be a little bit of different guidelines and things like that. But hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back again probably next week for another one. So have a great day, guys. Thank you.